It's interesting how the military is coming forward to say, we've achieved some successes, and these are them. So tonight, we're looking at these successes and how they can achieve more in the sense that we want a safer Nigeria. Tonight, I have a panel that will give us a sense of what this means for our security efforts in Nigeria. Major General Henry Ayola joins us from Lekki area of Lagos. He's a retired military officer. Thank you, General, for joining us tonight. And Senator Ali Ndume is the chairman of the Senate Committee on the Army. He joins us from Istanbul in Turkey. And Mr. Dennis Amakiri joins us from New York. Let me get Major General Henry Ayola. A few times we've had you on the program to get your view on the situation of security in the country. But with what the Defense Headquarters have come up with today, what is your immediate reaction to it?
Thank you very much, Shion. Good evening, viewers. I think this is a very cheering news. It's a great opportunity for us all to celebrate, recognize, and commend, indeed encourage our troops right there on the theater and all the other security services that are involved. It goes a long way to alter the trend of operations so far. Let me start by looking at it from the side of our own troops. Usually, when you have new entrants into a theater of war, they come in as force multipliers and enablers. So the change of guard of the service chiefs, some of the new equipment, including the aircraft that have come and other equipment that have been brought into the theater, obviously are paying off. So one of the first things we see is that our troops have seized the initiative. And you say, when you have the initiative, it means you are the offensive. You are on the winning side. And the end result of that is that there is a boost in the morale of the troops. That's a good news for us. Not only that, it gives you an opportunity to now sustain that victory by carrying out exploitatory operations. Want to take it further, so you make it a sustainable victory. And that will end up in the areas of some of the other operations that are outside the Northeast that are going to deal with the banditry and kidnapping and all of that. Some of the areas that have been used, that have been said to be ungoverned spaces, this gives us an opportunity to break that ice there and see how we can begin to penetrate those areas. That's one other advantage it has brought to the security forces. Of course, again, it's a sure way that there's an attrition of the adversary going on by this win of our forces. The adversary is being reduced in strength, in logistics, and that again gives us another opportunity of boosting our intelligence operations. Because with the number of them captured, by the time they are interviewed and interrogated, we will gain more intelligence, and that will help further successes in our operations. Not only that, if I look at it from the point of the adversary, himself, we see that it will change their, call their bluff, really, change their orientation. Because, up until now, perhaps they felt they were invincible in certain things or certain areas. But that has been demystified. And, our troops are then in a position to show that, look, we can do it. And we can do it again and again by sustaining this victory. Of course, it will also hinder the logistics of the enemy. Because we see also that some of the areas that they were captured in, and some of the, like the 2 bomb experts that were captured, that means our troops can have better mobility, safer mobility. They can move, in the terrain with freedom of action, which makes it better for us. Of course, it also means that the enemy is no longer in the place to dictate the pace of the operation. Okay, and once we seize the initiative that way, the onus is now on us to sustain that offensive posture and carry it through to the end. So I'm so happy for our troops, and I pray and hope that this winning spirit will continue, and that we continue to encourage our troops to do more, so that we can have a fast track conclusion of these operations.
All right, let me go to Senator Aline Dume. As a politician, also you're chairman of the Army Committee. How does this come to you? You've advocated for more firepower for the military, but what they've done today and what they've said they've done, how does this come to you?
Well, it didn't come to me as a surprise, actually, because I've been saying for a long time that the armed forces and other security agencies of the country are handicapped. Otherwise, they have the capacity and the ability to prosecute this war. Now that what they need is given to them, you can see the result within this short time. And I'm expecting more. It's only that, as I've said before, there shouldn't be blanket amnesty and pamperous treatment to those that surrender. They should carefully be profiled, and there is no hurry in it, but they should be in hurry to capture and end this war, or not really be in hurry to talk about this issue of resettlement, reintegration, and all that. The first step after getting them is to try to resettle the people. And now that the war is getting to an end or is almost ending, then we talk about profiling, investigating, interrogating those that have surrendered. I think it's a welcome development, and I have confidence that more is to be seen with the new leadership and the new cooperation and interagency cooperation between our various security agencies. This is a very good development, and just as we have been criticizing and we are saying that the our armed forces are not doing enough, now that they are doing enough and there is hope and there is a light at the end of the tunnel, I think there is a need for Nigerians to come around this time around to support the military by encouraging them, by commending them for what they have done within this short period, and also to commend the leadership of the various armed forces, especially the new team that the president put in place, being it in the police, TSS, and other security agencies, and to expect them to put in more so that first thing, which the Constitution clearly says, will now be achieved. That is to provide security and welfare to the citizens of this country. Without that, we cannot move forward. And with this now new hope, especially in the various regions, northeast, south, northwest, and even southeast, there is a relative calm within these days, and people are full of hope. I think that needs to be sustained, and the security agencies need to be encouraged. I really want to commend them for this effort so far.
Thank you, Senator Aline Dume. Let me go to Mr. Dennis Amakre. Mr. Amakre, you operated several years in the intelligence community. When you hear neutralization, you hear capturing, it means a lot. It does look like there's going to be a lot of intelligence retrieved from some of these people that have been captured. How far-reaching will this be, and how should the military handle this kind of feat?
Thank you very much for having me. You see, this, first of all, I think I will have to congratulate the Nigerian people, because if you remember very well, they have been agitating for a removal of the service chiefs. And then, of course, after the service chiefs had left the previous ones, and the new team right now had gone out to really, really impress everybody. They've done very well. And then, of course, we've got it to an extent where they are now, in fact, should I say, having people to come and surrender. It's not even capturing, they are surrendering. So that is fantastic, because now when you look at it, just like the senator has said, this is what we want. And as far as you give them all what they need, they will do it. But it is very, very important that all these people that are surrendering should be processed properly. I just don't understand the pictures I saw earlier where they even have posters. Who wrote those posters for them? I don't know. I didn't see any arms that they surrendered with. Fighters who surrender will usually surrender with their arms. I didn't see any arms. Maybe they've taken it somewhere else. But please, let's be very, very honest about this. Process these people very well, interrogate them, and then, of course, this is a basket of intelligence that is coming to the intelligence agencies. As they talk to them, they are going to get more information, to do what they have to do. And then, of course, end this thing quickly.
How would that happen when you say end? How could they do that?
Well, now you see that people are surrendering. And then, of course, the head actually is cut off. Shekau is no more there. ISWAP, I think, is the one that is sustaining the remainder. And then, of course, the problem between two of them, the ISWAP fighters and the Boko Haram fighters. So these are aspects that the Nigerian army can actually use, because if the enemy is fighting amongst themselves, of course, they know what to do. We don't have to discuss that on television. But let them go ahead and do it. And then, of course, quickly they said they're using the kinetic and the non-kinetic measures. I think the non-kinetic measure will work tremendously. But let them do what they have to do quickly and take over.
So, General, let me come to you. The military's role majorly in the Constitution is captured as to protect the perimeter, the integrity of the country. With what we've seen today and what the military says they've been able to achieve, the next frontier will be how to sustain and also prevent. But how would they be able to go about that?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Well, that also sounds like an operational question. Well, they are trained to go about that, and they will know how to go about that. Like Mr. Macri said, when people often say that the military's job is to protect territorial integrity, well, oftentimes we don't join issues with that, but that's not really totally correct, because part of the role of the military is also to partake in internal security operations. So, and they are trained for that. So it's not a problem. They will be able to do that. But of course, one of the things that they have done that will also enhance further operations is the area of civil-military relations, which we saw in Operation Safe Haven and one of the other internal security operations. That in itself enhances success of further operations, because once you have very good community relations with the locals where you are, then of course you can take for granted their support, their willing offering of intelligence and all of that. That will also go a long way to help them. The other aspect is that with the adversary submitting and surrendering willingly, of course, that will diminish their own morale. And of course, in the opposite direction, we boost the morale of our troops. And they can cash in on that, to sustain that the enemy will never regain confidence again. So there are a number of subsidiary operations they can keep on to ensure that. So that is very possible and is workable.
Senator, beyond all of what the military is doing, so we don't reverse the effort of the military, the question of how we can solidify our security architecture in the country is a big question now. The kind of policing that we should have, the kind of federal system that we should operate will also inform how safe and secure our nation can be. So going forward, you are a lawmaker. Where do we go from here? If the military is making successes, politically speaking, what kind of effort should we be expecting?
Well, the effort now is for to reconcile, resettle, and reintegrate the people, because so many people have been displaced and scattered all over. Now that the war is almost getting to an end, and the insurgents are surrendering in droves, I think it is now the time for the government to concentrate more on rebuilding, resettling, and also now helping people to live up and stand up and pick their peace life again. So many people have been displaced. So many people have been, scattered all over the place. We have over 120,000 IDPs or refugees outside Nigeria. We need to start thinking of how to bring them back and how to resettle them. That is the first thing, and reorient them. This reorientation includes making sure that we restore civil authority, especially when we have thousands of youngsters that volunteered to chase this Boko Haram. The military will soon go back to their barracks when this is all over. And therefore, the police, the SS, and others, civil authority have to be re-established and strengthened so that we don't have such an incident again. Actually, what was responsible for the situation we got ourselves is that originally when the DSS, for example, and other internal security organizations were providing information and sounding warning to the government, then they tried to politicize it and ignore it. And that led to this situation, because I must confess that the civil authorities or security agencies, especially the DSS and even the police, are doing, even the military intelligence that are involved, they are doing a lot, provision of information, and they provide certain information. Even now, I'm surprised by some of the information I get from the DSS, from police, and other security agencies. But the problem then was that the authorities and the government, particularly as at then, were not using this. They were more or less politicizing it, looking for scapegoat, and then trying to use it to settle scores. I was a big victim, God saved me. I was in court for 6 years. And while the government was branding me as a sponsor of Boko Haram, they were going to try to look for sponsors of the Boko Haram and spend tons of money there. It's just that God saved my life, that I'm here today. I think the security agencies, especially the DSS and other security agencies in the police, whether should be listened to, their security reports should be taken very seriously. Even now, if that is done, and I must say that part of the success that is being recently recorded is because there is high level of cooperation between the DSS, Air Force, Nigerian Army, police, custom, and every other intelligence organizations that we have around. Government is working as one now, not as individual. There's no less competition between security agencies, unlike before. I think this should be sustained. And this should be strengthened. The institution should be listened to. If we listen to them and strengthen the authorities at the local level, before you know, the DSS will give you information as to what is happening today. In my village, I normally get this information from them.
All right. Thank you, Senator. But we need to wrap up now. And let me get the final word from Mr. Dennis Amakri. We just have about a minute to go. A big congratulations to the military. But we cannot rest, can't we? Where do we go from here? Just a minute before we go.
I think we're just starting. And I think where we are is a very good booster, And then, of course, the most important aspect of this is that if we are synergizing, if all the forces, air-to-ground integration, ground forces intelligence sharing, and as long as this continues, I think we should see an end to this decade-long war. So, I have a confidence in them. And I'm very optimistic that they're going to do their job.
this sharing, and a good one for one to get to bed tonight and perhaps sleep better, because over 10 years now this insurgency has ravaged our country. Kidnapping, banditry, they are there, and we hope and believe in our military that they're just doing their job and I will come home with victory. Thank you so much, my partner tonight, for your time. Senator Aline Dume in Istanbul, Turkey. Mr. Dennis Amakri in New York in the United States. And Major General Henry Ayola, retired military officer in Lekki area of Lagos. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time tonight. And that's how we close the show today. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye for now.